Today's episode of Truth Recon is one of those stories that reminds you no matter how dark things get, there's always a way back to the light. I sat down with Caleb Rea, known to most as Dub, and his father, Lymann Rea, two men whose story defines resilience, faith, and redemption. Caleb's story started in pain at just 10 years old. He began using drugs, trying to escape the constant bullying and ridicule he faced for being overweight. He told his teachers, but no one listened. At one of the lowest points imaginable, he tried to take his own life at only 10 years old. And the only thing that stopped him was the weapon jamming. But that wasn't the end of Dub's story. It was the beginning of a fight that would change everything. After surviving two devastating ATV accidents and living with a traumatic brain injury, Caleb lost his chance to play the sport he loved, baseball. But instead of giving up, he found strength, literally. He and his father turned to powerlifting. And just 1 year after leaving the hospital, Caleb broke his first world record. Fast forward to November 2025, father and son stood side by side at the World Powerlifting Championships. Caleb walked away with 9 world records and his dad with 2 more. Together, they've built something much stronger than muscle. They've built faith, purpose, and a platform for hope. This is a story about going from the lowest of lows to the highest of highs, from being bullied and broken to becoming literally one of the strongest teenagers in the world. Stay tuned because this is a story you will never forget.
My name's Lymann Rea. I'm born and raised Frog Pond, Alabama. Spent the majority of my adult life in some type of law enforcement, one way or the other. I've been blessed to do a lot of things and don't like a whole lot of credit for none of it. So, talking about me is not really that exciting, we would say.
I guarantee you it's a lot more exciting than you think.
But came out of law enforcement, went the outlaw route. I went to Outlaw Bike Club for a while, lived that life, and then came out of that. Like, you can't live that life and have a family. So came out of that, started focusing 100% on family, and that's where we are now. And I tell people now, I eat and I go to the gym with him, and that's about how my life goes now. When I was 17, I quit school when I was 17 years old. The guidance counselor comes in and he's got a group of 6 of us in his office, and he's like, "Y'all wasting our time, and the best thing y'all can do is quit." So quit. And I was at Belgreen at the time. I quit, and 2 weeks later, I was the youngest person Larry Plott ever hired. Larry actually put me to work at 17 years old. And I stayed in the jail until I was 20. They were fixing to send me to the Sheriff's Academy. And in July of that year, I decided I had a pretty bad fight. And they sent me to River Bend, had me evaluated and all this because of the fight. And like I said, it was pretty bad fight. But I realized then that it was time to do something different. Went the outlaw route for a while and done those type things. And then good Lord found me in 2002. And in 2004, Sheriff Plott asked me if I wanted to come back. And they brought me back. I stayed till right before he was born. And then the last thing I done, I contracted for Homeland. I was injured in 2012, so I don't get to do a whole lot of the things that I used to do just because I can't. The range of motion's not there, those type of things. But the majority of my life right now is spent eating and in the gym with him. And that's, we enjoy that time. We talk to folks, and it's just that's what our life has become since he started. He started in December 23, in which we'll get into that. He did his first meet in February of 24, and he was still 14. He turned 15 in March. Since he's done that first meet, it's been a rocket ship ride ever since.
Oh, that's awesome. What did you do when you went back to the sheriff's office? What capacity was that?
I went back as a 911 operator, and then when the deputy slot came up, they gave me it.
Did you go to academy?
Went to Sheriff's Academy. I did.
And how long were you a deputy?
Well, went to Sheriff's Academy and got sent back home over my 6-foot fence, of all things, believe it.
Wow.
Yeah, didn't clear it. Come back home, they put me back in 911. They told me, they said, "We'll send you back to the next session, just dispatched till time to go back. And at that time, I was pastoring a church also. While I was back waiting on that next session to start, I couldn't get a piece with it. I couldn't get a piece with it. When I was younger, that was all I ever wanted. But by then, it just didn't mean to me what it did everybody else. It was, by that point, it was just work. I went to the chief, and I was training real hard then too. And I walked in the chief's office, and he's like, "What have you hurt?" And no, I hadn't heard anything. I said, "But I don't want to go back to the academy." And he said, "You sure?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "I don't want to go back to the academy. You know, there's too much going on. It's not what I want." So I stayed there at 911 for a while, and then decided I wanted to go to be a CO again, because at that time they were working 12-hour shifts and we weren't. Went back to jail to work those 12s, and then that's where I was when I left. So I chose not to go back to. And at that time we were using Jefferson County Sheriff's Academy.
Yeah.
And at that time, with having the church and everything that was involved with the church, it didn't fit anymore.
And what year was this?
It would have been 06. That would have been, yeah, I've been gone for a minute. Other than I came off contract in 23.
Okay.
Yeah, ended up with COVID, messed my lungs up, and had to come off contract.
But you're health-wise, you good with all that now?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
that part's good. I tell folks all the time, I started running again, and of course, in my mind, that mile and a half is still that goal, and it's a whole lot better now at 48 than it was in my 30s.
So you're 48 now.
I'm 48 now. I'll be 49 in December.
And what's your height and weight, if you don't mind?
I don't mind telling you at all. I'm 6'3", and Saturday morning I weighed in at 290 pounds.
Jesus, you're a big guy. Big. I think I saw where you just got 2 world records. Is that correct?
I did. I bench only because of my disability. I bench only. That doesn't hurt me most of the time. I don't know if you saw the video of the wreck, but most of the time that doesn't hurt me, and I can do that. So I'm in one division, and in one division you only have 3 opportunities to get records for those 3 attempts. My first attempt landed on me, so that blew one, and then I come back, got my second, third.
Awesome. What exactly what are we talking about when we're talking about the world records? What is the world record in, and
we compete with the Southern Powerlifting Federation. There are federations all across the globe. We compete with Southern Power Federation. It's a bunch of guys. They put it together out of Tifton, Georgia. A great group of guys, great group of competitors. It's the only sport that I've ever been around that you can take the top tier guys and they will tell you every secret they know, and they are proud to tell you that.
Awesome.
You know, a lot of sports, your top tier guys are not going to tell you their secrets.
Yeah.
I shoot competitively too, and trying to get somebody's recipe for the round that they're shooting is like pulling teeth. You know what I'm saying? You don't see that in powerlifting. I mean, everybody is just pulling for everybody. But anyway, we compete with SPF. So my world records are with the Southern Powerlifting Federation, and his also.
And the records based on weight, obviously, right?
Well, how it goes, you compete in when you register for a meet, you do, of course, we do male. Then you go weight and age. So like mine is Submasters 47 to 49. His is 16, 17. And this was his first meet as a 16-year-old. Then you go your divisions. You have full power, which is squat, bench, and deadlift. Then you have push-pull, which is deadlift and bench press. Then you can do bench only, squat only, deadlift only. So because of my disability, I can only bench. So I do bench only. He does full power. So that puts him in doing full power. He also does bench only. He also does deadlift only and squat only. So that gives him 4 divisions.
Okay.
And then you get 3 attempts per exercise. So you get 3 squat attempts, 3 bench attempts, 3 deadlift attempts. They take the top number from all 3 and they give you a total at the end of the day. And that's how that works.
Okay, so it's not 1 against 1, it's your 3 added up
Yes, it's
against
your
everybody else's 3 added up.
unless you do like me and do a single event, and then they take your top number from that event. And then the way they score it, it's a formula that they call dots. And I'm not going to go into the formula, but what it does, it takes your body weight, the amount of weight that you moved, and they put it in this formula, and then it comes out and it gives you X amount of dots. And then that way, that's the only way that you can compare an 80-pound young lady to a 300-pound me is you use that formula, and that's the dots. And that's how they come up with like your overall winner for the day.
It's weight for weight.
Yeah, it gives you an even weight for weight ratio is what it does.
Yeah. And so what's the most you bench press?
We're in No Limit gym now, and this is where we train. We're in the posing room. If you see the mirrors and stuff behind us. Here, I've been to 6. In a meet, 450's been my top.
Wow.
This weekend, it was supposed to go 410 to open, 450 for a second, and for my third. My 410, my opener, I tell you, it was funny. I benched in equipment and in a division that's called Unlimited. And I'll wear a band or a bench shirt. And everybody in my division, they do the same thing. You know, I'm not benching against what they call raw lifters. I'm benching against folks that are equipped also. How it works is it allows us to move more weight. I don't concentrate at all on my raw bench just because I'm not a raw bencher. We were worried with me going in so light about my 410 being able to pull it down and actually touch my chest. But wanted to get the nerves out of the way, see how long head judge was going to hold me at the bottom. And what I mean by that is when you come down, you have a head judge that tells you when to press. So the bar has to be perfectly still and you in control of it, not sitting on you, can't be laying on you, but perfectly still. And then they'll give you a press command. When they give you the press command, you're straight back up and you stop there and you wait there for their rack command. So he and I were laughing about I may blow my opener by not being able to get it down to my chest. Come in, got laid down, got set up. He handed it all to me, and soon he handed it all to me, it fell on my chest. And that was a lick, but got over that, come back, hit my second and third. But when I dropped that, or when it fell, I ain't gonna lie, scared me.
I'm sure.
So we didn't get to that 500 number this time. We'll do it next time.
So you had 410 pounds hit your chest.
Absolutely.
Jesus.
Yeah, absolutely. It was there and then it wouldn't. And when he hands it to me, I'm already braced and I'm already tight. There was no controlled descent at all. If you look at the video, there's a zoomed in video on my Facebook that you can see. You can just see my right wrist, but you see my right wrist break forward. And that was it. Bam. That's how it was.
That's a lot of weight.
It was heavy. And we joked later, my opener touched. It just touched really hard.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, it touched.
All right. Caleb.
And we call him Dub.
All
Yeah,
right.
Dub.
Yeah, I'll call you Dub. All right. Let's hear about yourself.
Very much to hear.
There's a lot to hear. That's why you're here.
I grew up in Russell. And then I moved to Jonesboro for a few years and then went to Frog Pond. And I've been at Frog Pond for 4 years, 5 years maybe.
Now, how old are you now?
I'm 60.
You're 16. And where do you go to school right now?
I'm actually getting my GED.
Okay. Okay. So you're doing this full time?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, not to interrupt him. When he started training the way he did, he was already on a modified schedule at school. Phil Campbell didn't really want him there because
It was too much of a liability.
The liability with his seizure disorder and whatnot, and we'll get into that. We talked, and he told me he wanted to homeschool. It's okay, as long as you keep your grades up.
Yeah.
Then we'll do that. As this progressed, he come to me and he said, "I want to get my GED," and I said, "The only way me and his mom talked, it's the only way we'll sign off on that, is if as soon as you finish your GED, you turn right around and you start college classes." He said, "I'm good with that." So That's why we went that route, and it's worked out well. He's excelling. He's at Shoals every day. Monday, he's at Shoals Monday through Thursday from 8 to 11. And then we're here from about 12 to 3. Then he's home. He has an 8 o'clock curfew to be home. And
Not anymore.
during prep, he has an 8 o'clock curfew to be home and a 10 o'clock bedtime. That's how his days look. And even without his curfew, he's usually home 8
I went
or
to bed
so.
last night at 8.
Yeah, he was in bed last night. But that's why we agreed to, with all the circumstances, Derek, and the way that everything is, that's why we agreed to him starting the GD program. Have already had a school out of Missouri reach out and wanted him to commit and start with them in the spring. And I'm like, y'all, he's still 16 years old,
Yeah.
which will be 17 in March. And of course, it was the first offer. And we talked to his coach, and coach and I said, hold up. So we passed on that one. But didn't mean to interrupt y'all. I just wanted to put some context into why he's in that GED program
Oh, yeah.
versus being at school.
I think there's a lot of people moving towards that now, and I think for a lot of people that's probably the better way to. For a lot of people, that's the better route to go. Especially when you're doing something productive like you are right now. You're getting way more out of life right now than most kids that are sitting in high school classes every day, and probably learning a lot more about life and how to do things than they are too. I'm not the biggest proponent of public schools anyway, so I think that, like I said, I think for a lot of people that works out better anyway.
And it has, like I say, because, and we'll get into the regs and the TBIs and things, but with his circumstances, it has worked out and benefited him better. He learns better, more one-on-one than he does in a big classroom setting, and we'll get into that. But good. Ask him how big he is. Yeah, ask him his.
What is your height and weight?
I'm not as tall as him. I'm 6'2" and like 300 something.
Yeah,
Like
you're not that big. You're only 6'2", 300 and something. That's just that is crazy.
Last weekend at 300.4. So
Jesus.
I can't breathe.
So y'all talked about some accidents, right?
Yeah.
So do we want to talk about that?
Sure. So
Do you know your dates?
July was one of them.
Let me get you started. His first one, Derek, we were living in Jonesboro, and you have to forgive me, I still get tore up over it, but
I can imagine.
we were living in Jonesboro and he's riding 4-wheeler, and it was just a freak thing. I turned the 4-wheeler over. His helmet and his goggles actually saved him. As far as handlebars landed right where his goggles were, so goggles saved. We know the right eye. That wreck, they flew him from Russell High School's football field to Birmingham. We got to Birmingham. They thought he had broke his pelvis. Unfortunately, he did not, but he did sustain a TBI, a traumatic brain injury. And from that TBI, he developed a seizure disorder. That's when the whole public school thing started to go downhill for us. Then we were still living in Jonesboro. He was at Belgrade. He missed a lot of school during the recovery. When the next school year started, during that summer, we had moved back to Frog Pond. And when the school year started, he went to Phil Campbell. Still on, spent a year at Phil Campbell on modified schedule. Couldn't do PE, no baseball, which that was his thing at Belgrade, was baseball. Took all of his sports stuff away from him because of the TBI. They said he couldn't take a chance on taking the ball to the head, So during that, he went through a deep depression, and I'll let him tell you about all that. But July, that was in the fall of, it was during school, it was fall of 22. Okay. Well, July of 22, actually. July of 23, he was working on a chicken farm, summer job with some folks in Belgrade. He got on a side-by-side, and the only thing that he was going somewhere else on the farm, so he jumps on the Polaris Ranger, goes down a gravel road, and one of his triggers is if he gets overly stimulated, if he gets too hot, it'll set the seizures off. Now his seizures are non-epileptic, so he's not post-ictal when he comes out, if you understand the term.
Yeah.
When he comes out, he's as good as he is right here, you know. But he had a seizure on that side by side, and when he had a seizure, he nailed the gas and head on into some pine trees. When the side by side came to rest, from what we can tell from the scene, it threw him through the windshield, which had, that plexiglass windshield. It put him through the windshield. His knees hung under the dash. It set him back down in the side by side. And when it set him back down in it, the back of his head on the left side hit the B post of the roll bar, which is a roll bar behind you. He smacks the B post and it broke his neck at C1. He FaceTimes his mom. I've had a wreck, my neck and my back. We know where he is, vicinity wise. We know where he is. We cut out. We get down there and we can't find him. He's still on the phone with us and we still can't find him. Brandon James, which is 911 director, actually found him. I drove past him and everybody calls him Booper, but Booper found him. Got on the phone with us and said, hey, y'all passed him, turn around and come back. So we turn around, we go back. I get side by side with him. EMS gets there. We get him loaded, go to the baseball field at Belgreen, and they fly him his second time from the baseball field there at Belgreen. We get to Birmingham, and because of the first accident, he has a whole team of doctors at Vandy. Neurologists, nephrologists, cardiac. He's got a whole team of doctors that came with that TBI. And we never dreamed that much that a TBI would affect that much of the body. It's hard for me to relate a brain injury with heart and kidneys, but it does. So anyway, we another hour and 45-minute ride to Birmingham chasing that helicopter. So we get to Children's and we go in, and they called us. They called us about Jasper, and they said he's talking, and which he was talking to us the whole time too on the scene. But they told us that he's talking, y'all just come on. So we get down there, and of course he's in the bed. He's still in the sea collar. They kept him in the sea collar for about 3 days, and then they come in. They told us, they said, we're going to cut y'all loose because of the Vandy doctors. So we're going to cut y'all loose. Y'all go to Vandy. So that's what they done. They turned him loose. We go to Vandy, and Vandy started handling all his care from there. They released him. He went through he was having some trouble walking. So his PT was walking. It was pretty much from his neck to his feet that they worked with as far as his PT. And then October 31st, Halloween of 23, we sat down in the ortho office at Vandy, and they said, okay, you good to go. We're going to turn you loose. Can't do any sports, none of that still. But you can lift weights. And during all of this, when it broke his neck, it compounded and gave him an additional TBI in a different part, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So he has 2 now, and of course still has the seizure disorder. But they told him, you can lift weights. Okay. During his rehab, he figured out that in his PT, he figured out that he liked training. So when we got in the car, he asked for a gym membership for Christmas. That would have been 23. Absolutely. Absolutely. So we're in the gym. He got his gym membership. We're in the gym one day, and powerlifting came up. And he said, I don't know that I've ever seen none. I said, let me show you a video. So I showed him video, and he's like, I want to do that. So that's when he done his first meet in February. But I'll let y'all get back to it. I don't know where I need to start off.
Well, he got us. Is there anything else you want to add about your accidents, as far as the specific accidents or anything? So we're now in 2020. So you did when did you do your first meet?
February 24.
February
February
20.
24. Okay. So we're talking about almost 2 years ago when you did your first meet. Yeah. So tell us about the first meet, how that went.
It was in Mobile. It was not with the people I live with now. It was a USA Powerlifting, USAPL. Okay. So I did that. Went in blind. Didn't know what to do really. So have fun, and learn a few things. Totaled all my lifts total was like 800 something. So wasn't nothing crazy. And then I liked it. We was going to another USA PL meet, and then something happened, and we got hooked up with SPL. That's who I live with now.
Now, he tells you that his first meet ever, if you do the math, his rec was in July. He done his first meet in February, and he's setting state and national records that day.
You left that part out of that?
He left that part out.
That's wow. I mean, that's impressive in itself already. Now, Lyman, were you already into powerlifting and stuff, or did you start when he did?
No, I had, yes and no. I had done it back in the early 2000s while I was at the sheriff's office. I had not been in the gym since Caleb had been born. So I had not been in the gym in 14 years to amount to anything.
So y'all pretty much started this journey. Yeah, awesome.
We started together.
Perfect. So we've done the first meet, and then you decided, okay, I really like this, and I want to continue and get deeper into it. So what kind of lifestyle changes did you have to make during that time to really start focusing and when you really decided, okay, this is what I want to do, what kind of life, things did you have to change?
Well, it goes back to the whole public school thing. Kind of got in the way. Being there till 3:00, 3:00, and it didn't really go with what I was doing. And so got homeschool out. Didn't have much time for it. So 12 o'clock in the morning on my 16th birthday, I dropped out. And since then, I've just lifted and ate.
So how was your diet before you started this? Did you just kind of eat whatever, or were you already kind of particular about your diet?
I was just fat.
So, but you didn't have
that word. Hey, Derek, look, let me tell you, from the time he was born and old enough to understand, these two F words in our house we don't use. One of them self-explanatory and fat's the other. We don't use that. We don't use that term because there's so many people that that term affects. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So from the beginning, we don't call people fat. We don't talk unless we're talking about one another. And then I may say I'm fat. You heard him say.
Yeah.
But when it comes to anybody else, that's a hard no. We don't do that.
That's awesome. So you obviously you had to change your diet when you started getting serious. And so how did your diet change?
Just lots of protein.
Yeah, volume and more protein. Not as much junk food, not McDonald's every day.
Did you drink a lot of water previous to starting this journey? Do you drink a lot of water now?
Yeah.
Okay. How important to y'all do you think, how much water a day do y'all think you drink?
Gallon plus.
And how important do you think that is?
I know it's not enough.
I can speak on hydration. I just spent a week in July. No, when October. Yeah, I spent a week in the hospital in October with what they call rhabdomyolysis.
I'm familiar.
Right?
Very bad thing.
Yeah, that was my fourth bout of rhabdo, and even as much water as I do drink,
That's too much water.
I have drank too much water. But one of the bouts of rhabdo, I had drank too much water and flushed all electrolytes out of my system.
Wow.
And it set the rhabdo off, is what the doctor said. This time, they can't give me a reason of why it hit like it did. We had left here. This is embarrassing. We had left here, was going to eat at El Patron, which is a restaurant here in Russell. We go in before we go in El Patron. My wife, she was with us. Avery, his girlfriend, she was with us. We walked into a shoe store and I sat down on a bench. And when I went to get up, I could feel my legs then. So when we sat down to eat, I told Douglas, "You have to help me get up out of this booth." And it was a heavy leg day that day. So when we Get the check. We fixing to get up and leave. I turn around. He goes to help me up out of the booth. When I stand up, he turned me loose and I hit the floor. Restaurant full of people, and I'm laying in the floor. And I'm looking up at him going, dude, get me up out of the floor. Holly's looking down at me from the booth going, get up. So he stands me up again, turn me loose, bam, bounce off the table in the booth, and I'm in the floor again. And I'm like, quit turning me loose, hold me. So he gets me stood up and they hold me for a minute and got my legs under me, and I was able to get to the car and going over to the hospital. And the doctor, he comes in, and it's been the same doc every time I end up in the ER. And he's like, Lyman, what are you doing? And I was like, you know what we're doing? We've had this conversation. I said, you're right, we have. He said, but you can't go home this time. And I said, yeah, I can. He said, no, you can't. So, like I said, spent a week there. They were running a bag of fluid an hour, which what that bag of fluid an hour turns into is that went from Tuesday afternoon to Saturday morning. And what that equates to is that bag of fluid an hour is the restroom every 15 minutes, 24 hours a day. Don't matter if you're asleep, you're awake, whatever. Every 15 minutes, that bag of fluid is going somewhere. So, yeah, hydration is extremely, extremely important. It is that and rest. A lot of folks think that the only thing that matters is what we do here. And like I said, we're in the gym now. And that's not the case. This is a fraction of what it takes. You were talking about diet. He does have a structured diet. He has a pro coach now that we picked up first of this year, or he picked him up first of this year from Oklahoma City. His name's Ray Willingham. Ray runs Legacy Powerlifting, which is, so there it is that. Ray structured his diet. Ray structures his workouts. He handles all of that essentially for both of us now, and made a large difference. So one of the biggest things that Ray changed was volume. And volume work for powerlifters is tough because we like to work in threes.
Yeah.
Volume was one of the biggest things for us to adjust to, he and myself.
So yeah, so I mean, water and I've been preaching this for years. I have not had a carbonated beverage in over 20 years. Not a sip.
That's awesome.
I'm a true believer in water, and I just try to preach that to everybody, and have been for a long time. And just most people don't realize how dehydrated they are just walking around because they don't drink enough water. But it's extremely important, especially the older you get, for sure. But so you a lot of protein and a lot of water. So is that pretty much the main lifestyle changes you had to make, your schedule, obviously, and your food and your drinking.
Pretty much lost a lot of time.
Yeah.
In my days, but that's part of it, you know.
And how important to sleep is sleep? Y'all mentioned rest, but how important is sleep?
Important enough. I went to bed at 8:00 last night.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's if you don't sleep, you don't give your muscle time to recover, and you grow when you sleep. So no sleep, you ain't growing.
Yep. Yeah. Again, that's another thing I try to point out. People will come to me and they, hey, put me on a workout plan, and I want to lose weight or whatever. And the first thing I say is, cut out all soft drinks, drink nothing but water for the next month, and then come back. And they look at me, and rarely do I have anybody come back because they don't even want to make that step.
And it's tough.
It is.
It's tough. Caffeine's an addiction. Sugar's an addiction. And it's tough to move past those things. I mean, it really is. And, we see folks, if you're in the gym long enough, you're going to see folks first of the summer. You're going to see new folks. Prom season, you're going to see new folks. January, you're going to see new folks. So those 3 times a year, you're going to see new folks come in because you got New Year's resolutions, beach bodies, and then prom, like I said, prom season. So then say a month or so after that, those folks are gone, and then you're back to your core members again, your core folks that you see. And, I see a lot of folks with him, and this is what I've talked to with him about a lot. When he comes in here, he's not coming in here to look pretty. He's not coming in here to do anything other than he has a purpose of being here. And his purpose of being here is to be stronger than he was the day before he came in here. And we train year round. There's no breaks. We took the break this week because the Worlds was last weekend. If we have a meet, then we take the week off. Other than that, we train him. We train him. And he's training with a purpose. He's not just training to be healthy. He's not just training to be the size that he is. He's training with an actual purpose, with an end goal. And that end goal is his 4 years worth of college. That's the end goal. What he does outside of that, once he turns pro, whatever, that's up to him. But right now, his end goal is the weight that he moves is going to put him through college. That's the end goal.
Yeah.
And all of it is his education.
And the discipline that you're learning now, I mean, that's going to carry you the rest of your life. I mean, to learn that kind of discipline at your early age like that is not common at all. And that's going to shape the rest of your life in a positive way for sure.
And Derek, during prep, his curfews are really strict. So Friday night, most kids go on football game. Our prep, has landed during football season. 8 o'clock, he's home. 10 o'clock, he's in the bed. He may not be asleep, but he's in the bed. That's Friday night. That's Saturday night. That's every night during prep. And, most 16-year-olds, they're hanging out and they're doing their thing. He's eating, training, and sleeping. And then, of course, like I said, he goes to class Monday through Thursday. So his day during prep looked like this. 8 o'clock, he's up, or 7, he's up. He's in class at 8 to 11. He comes home, he eats a little bit. We're here by 12, depending on what day it is. Sometimes we were out by 3, sometimes we're out by 4. And that's because we're training together. So what would normally be 2 hours by himself, when you put both of us together, it turns into 4. So that's like, say, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Then you've got that 4-hour span that he's got to shower, eat supper, do all that. Definitely got to be at home by 8 and then in bed at 10. And then he has to study in between. So his days during prep are super, super structured, except Sunday. We don't train on Sunday. We go to church, and then he has time off from when we get out of church until 8 o'clock again to do what he wants to. So his hanging out is Sunday after church between then and 8 o'clock during prep. Now, it's not as strict when we're not doing prep.
Yeah.
But like he said, we're not in prep right now. We're not even training this week. And he was still in the bed at 8 o'clock last night.
Yeah.
Because that's what he's accustomed to.
Monday night, Veterans Day was what, Tuesday?
Yesterday. No, yeah,
Tuesday.
So Tuesday, I didn't have school. So I was like, I ain't prep. I'm gonna stay out for a little bit. 10 o'clock, I was hurt. And I got home around 11. I had to go to bed.
Yeah.
I was tired.
Well, and most kids your age they don't go to bed at 11 o'clock ever. I mean, that's just the way it is, and that's not good. I wish everyone understood how important sleep and those things are and the rest. But as I said, most people can't be that disciplined, especially at that age.
And it's like it Worlds. Because I do bench only, I competed on Friday. He was in the bed Friday night, not long after dark. Well, it was early Friday night when he went to bed. Yeah, 5, 6 o'clock, he was in bed. And then we were at the Coliseum again Saturday morning, a little before 7. So, I mean, a lot of folks, it is that discipline, Derek, but a lot of folks don't want to make that sacrifice. They don't want to sacrifice their free time. They don't want to sacrifice their time with their buddies. And, just a lot of folks aren't wired for that.
He was in the hospital this last time for that week, and I was still working out, and I wanted to hang out with my buddies. So I was like, hey, I'm going to come get y'all, and y'all go to the gym with me so we can hang out. So they worked out. I wouldn't know why I'm not in the gym, so I just brought them with me.
Yeah. So we're first match was in February of 24, correct?
Yes, sir.
And so where are we after that?
May of 24, we were supposed to be in Mobile. The promoter, not promoter, but meet director, he ghosted everybody on Wednesday.
Everybody's money.
He was already prepped, so we were actually at the chiropractor's office, him getting an adjustment. We were supposed to leave on Friday, headed to Mobile. We were Mobile first, then it was Montgomery. All right. He ghosted us on Montgomery. So I jump online and I find a meet in Springfield, Missouri. Call these. And the thing about it, when you register for these meets, they'll cut registration off 2 weeks, 3 weeks before the meet. We're on Wednesday, meet's on Saturday. So I call him, and it's a gentleman by the name of David Shirley, and he's the SPF. And I'm like, look, I got a 15-year-old that's prepped, and we don't have a meet. Y'all come on. So we left on Friday morning, drove straight to Springfield, Missouri. They got him weighed in, and he competed that Saturday morning in Springfield. And he won. He took his division that day and set 9 more state records.
Wow.
That day too. Then we leave. That was in May. In June, and this was a quick turnaround. We've learned better since, but David does the Arkansas Strength Expo, and he invited us to come to that. So it was like meet. We had just a couple of weeks for him to.
It was a month difference.
Yeah, it was a month to prep, and we go to the Arkansas Strength Expo. It was my first meet, and DQ missed all 3 lifts. So got that DQ out of the way. We won't have no more then. And then he won it, and 9 more. I think he had 9 more state records that day too. And the thing about it, your state records were, even though we were in Missouri, even though we're in Arkansas, we're in Georgia, they're still Alabama records because that's where we live.
Yeah.
So all of his records, other than the world and the national, are all Alabama records. Tell you a funny story. While we're in Arkansas, it's hot. Dude, it's so hot. We were tired. Went on to the car first. And I turned around to say something to him, and he's not standing there. Okay, where is he? So we wait, and we wait, and we wait, and we wait. And I'm like, what is he doing? I mean, it's over, right? So finally he gets to the car, and he gets in the car, and he's got on a new hat. And I know he didn't have no money because he had a singlet on. I mean, there was nowhere for him to even put any money. I'm like, where'd you get that hat? He said, I got a sponsor. I said, you got a what? He said, I got a sponsor. Okay. So we get pulled out, and we're going on down through there, and I'm thinking about that. What do you mean you got a sponsor? And he handed me their business card, and there's a company called Cajun Labs out of Eunice, Louisiana. Well, I'm real familiar with Louisiana, with Eunice, because of some other folks. And I'm like, well, that's cool. Well, at the time, I was an ambassador for First Forward. So we get home and we get settled, and I call the Redouts, which is father and son that run Cajun Labs, and had that conversation with them. And he was for real. They had picked him up as him being one of their athletes. Now both of us are.
Well, I mean, they asked me to be an ambassador.
Yeah.
And I did buy the hat. They didn't give it to me for free. My girlfriend bought it, actually.
Okay. That's where the money was.
And a few months go down, we get a little bit more friendly and familiar with them. And then I go from an ambassador to one of their sponsored athletes. And
That's awesome.
And
great group of guys.
Yeah.
Great group of guys.
And in the midst of everything, never mind, we don't have them on.
What?
We started the cornbread fed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. From day one, it's been cornbread fed powerlifting is what he's lifted under, team name, and because as you can tell, he's cornbread fed. And so all our stuff will have, like I said, we haven't got one on right now, but it'll be cornbread fed, then Cajun Labs, and then Legacy. And that's us. And we're under those 3 brands, if you will.
Awesome. So, and how many records again in the second meet did you get?
9.
9 state records, right?
Yeah, so that gave him a total of 18.
I've lost count now.
Yeah, and that's not being boastful. When we got to 30, it was too hard to keep up with.
Yeah.
And I can go back and find all of them and look. But when we got to 30, we quit keeping up as much.
Wow. All right, carry on.
All right, so you and Jim. So your next one was
After Arkansas, I figured out I didn't like the back-to-back, so I was like, I'm probably just gonna do 2 a year. And so wait a little bit, what was the next one?
Let's see, I did Missouri.
They did a few
Worlds last year, World Championship last year.
and then after Arkansas, I took a little break, helped him, and then went to a World Championship in December 24th.
Yeah, 24. First World Championship was December 24th.
So about a year ago from now.
Yeah, we were in Gatlinburg then at the convention center, and there he took.
I had a seizure.
Oh yeah, tell me about that.
Got a little too excited. Got in my head. I wanted the world record. I hit my second squat and had a seizure. And then
Under the bar and
yeah.
during the squat.
I had a seizure during the squat, and they grabbed it and stuff. And I was good. When I got back to, I told everybody I wasn't through, so I finished off first again.
After the seizure.
Yeah.
With 8 state records that day.
Yeah.
After the seizure.
Yeah. After the seizure.
Jesus.
Ain't no quit in him, man. I'm telling you.
No.
There's not any quit in him.
And then after Worlds, I kind of just prepped for March. And then same thing. I think it was 9 state records or something.
4 first place finishes.
Started getting national records at some point. I don't remember when. And then after that, I was prepping for Arkansas again. It was a new year, so I was ready for Arkansas again. And then about like a week out, I tore quad tendon, and so that put me down for a little while.
Let me clear up some of the dates.
Yeah.
After World, we were supposed to have went to one in Tennessee, and me and him both were sick, so that put us into March. March was in Covington, Georgia. So we go down there. He lifts on Saturday as a 15-year-old, takes his 4 division wins, sets his records, and at midnight he turned 16 years old.
And
so that was his last 15-year-old meet. And he finished his 15-year-old career up at 15th in the world. And when I say in the world, that's every federation, when I say in the world, that's
So that's overall.
That's overall. That's everybody in the world. He was the 15th 15-year-old in the world.
And I got 15th in the world with strep.
With strep throat, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got those 4 division wins and those records with strep throat.
Oh.
Yeah, it's probably going to. I'll have to find the charter. So we come back from March, and we start prepping for his first 16-year-old meet. And
I was actually going to go equipped.
Yes, he was going to go equipped, and his equipped would be squat suit, deadlift suit, bench shirt. That was his goal. Do his first one at 16 in Arkansas, equipped, and he was warming up. Heavy for me, light for him, because I don't squat. But he was warming up in the threes.
It was 350. I was on 350, and then like second, third rep, I heard pop, went for another one, and I couldn't.
Yeah, tore the quad tendon. So he spent all of this summer getting over that quad tendon tear to come to Worlds in November and just dominate. Just if you go back and look at even the folks running the meet, we're talking about his third attempts should have been his openers. He got me off to the side, and I don't care to share this. After his squats, you get 3 attempts, but if it's a world record, then you can go for a 4th attempt to try to better your world record. So after his 3rd attempt, between his 3rd and his 4th, he was like, I ain't working yet. And he was already at 500, and they're gonna tell me I'm not working yet.
So he's already got the world record.
Yeah. His openers for every event at Worlds, for all 3 exercises, his openers were world records. So it was world record, world record, world record, world record. And the only one he missed was he missed a world record at his opener for bench. He jumped the rack command and racked it on his own. And that was, he's down, he's up. And instead of waiting for them to give that command, he's down, he's up, and he tracks it.
And it wasn't but 335, and I got in a hurry.
Yeah.
Went to 365, got it, and then got ballsy and put on 405 to see what would happen, and nothing happened. So I hit a wall.
But your max that meet was how much on bench?
365.
365, and you were 16 years old.
And to give you an idea, in his shirt, he would have been 7+.
The most I've done on my shirt was 700.
Wow. So the
Raw
shirt,
dance,
so the equip makes that big of a difference.
if you understand
Yeah.
how to use your equipment, it does. And it's a totally different thing. You're in the gym, you understand. The form is totally different. Where
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see me, but where most people, you're going to come down across, say, your nipple line.
Yep.
With your
Right at the
bench.
diaphragm
Right. When
or
we
right
bench
above it. Yeah.
equipment, we're down right across the top of our stomach.
Oh, wow.
It's
Okay.
is where you are. And once you put that equipment on, there is no room for error. And it has a groove and like where it needs to move. And if you're out of that groove at all, you're done. You just quit. There's no sense in, just y'all take it. When you're raw, you have a lot more room to try to compensate
Yeah.
and wiggle around. When you're equipped, you're not. You're either in the groove and it's up, or you're not.
That makes sense.
It's actually, to me, it's harder and it's harder to learn, but you do move a larger amount of weight.
So does that bring us to this last big meet, the world?
We're at Worlds. He squatted. His fourth attempt was 520. Like I said, he squatted his third, and that was 500. And that's when he told me I'm not working. So he comes back, he hit 525.
Should have went 550.
Yeah, we should have went to 550, but went 525, stayed conservative. 365 on his bench. He opened on his deadlift at 420, wasn't working. 465, 500, and then we should have went to 550 again on his deadlifts, and we went to 525 at 16.
And so, and how many world records did you get in this last meet? 9. Yeah, so 9 in all. And that's where Lyman, you got 2, right? That same meet.
Yeah.
And where did that take place? Oh, okay. So this is local for y'all.
Yeah. First, and I told everybody else, this is the first meet that we've ever been to that was inside of 6 hours for us.
Yeah.
And another thing with Alabama doesn't have powerlifting in school. Tennessee does, Mississippi does, Georgia does, Florida does, Alabama does not. And that's been tough for us too, because, he doesn't get the publicity, obviously, that football players do, or the baseball players, because folks just aren't that familiar with powerlifting. But when you take a 16-year-old and you're doing the things that he's doing, it's a whole lot bigger than just him. That makes sense.
Yeah.
These are from Worlds.
Wow.
Yeah, there's 4 of those. And then they'll tell you, I don't know if we can get it into view, but of course all the Worlds logos is on the front, and then what place is on the back, and of course they're all first place too. And then his records will actually.
Before you open your door, pause. Did you check the back seat? Meet Clever Ellie, a simple, affordable plug-in that helps you build the life-saving habit of checking your back seat every single time you exit your vehicle. Just plug it into your car's 12-volt socket. When you turn off the engine, Clever Ellie plays a clear voice reminder to check your back seat. With 10 varied voice messages in different tones, your brain doesn't tune it out. It keeps the reminder in your conscious awareness so the habit sticks. That is the main difference between this device and any others that do this same thing. Clever Ellie works with all modern cars that have a standard 12-volt socket. If your car keeps power on after shutdown, like when the radio stays on, no problem. Every order includes an easy-to-install door sensor that triggers the reminder as soon as the driver's door opens. No 12-volt socket? They've got you. You can use the compact USB adapter. And yes, Cleverly doubles as a practical car charger with both USB-A and USB-C ports and ongoing improvements in charging speeds. Other systems can be expensive, complex, require professional installation. Clever Ellie focuses on human habit formation using varied voice prompts to enhance your memory, not replace it. There are no fees, no subscriptions ever. They are not for profit, dedicated to child safety and awareness. Even if your car already has a reminder, you can still benefit. Or gift Cleverly to grandparents or anyone without a newer vehicle. Plug in peace of mind. Build the habit. Protect what matters. Get Clever Ellie today at cleverellie.com and join our mission to prevent hot car incidents. Use discount code DEREK, DEREK, to receive a free USB charging cable. Just click on the link listed in the video description and get your Clever Ellie today. Make sure to use discount code DEREK, DEREK, at checkout.
It all started out was like, why me? I was having fun doing what I liked doing, which was playing baseball. And then just a freak accident happened, and then like, why me? You know. So it messed with me a little bit. It wasn't easy because I wanted to go pro with baseball, and then I had this wreck, and I was like, I'll be fine. You know, I get everything healed back up, and they tell me you can't play no more. It's like, dang.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine that at that age. That would have.
I was like 13.
Save dreams.
I guess you swept away from me.
Well, one thing I've learned, and you probably have now, we have a plan for ourselves. Unfortunately, most of the time, it's not God's plan, and He'll make you realize that pretty quick. And obviously, His plan is always it always works out way better, but it takes most people a long time to figure that out and realize it, and some people unfortunately never do. But that's definitely one plus for you. You figured that out already.
And
I was 35 before I figured that out.
I remember I was ashamed because I dealt with a bunch of bullying, and people thought, I don't know how you would fake it. I was faking everything. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, the SCO, I'll interject this. One of his first seizures that he had at SCO, they hit him with Narcan. And I understand that, right? That was my reaction as well. But they Narcaned him, knowing that he had a seizure disorder, and they Narcaned him. And, you know, when he was at Belgrade before his wreck, he dealt with a lot of bullying. I mean, he was bullied tremendously. We did a motorcycle escort to school with him one day. There were 8 deputies waiting on us at the school to bring him to school because of that.
Not for us.
Didn't offer to escort us. And the thing about it, I called the sheriff. And I told him, this is what we're going to do, and this is why we're doing it. We're showing support. That's all we're doing. I called the scope, told the scope, we're showing support. We're not coming to cause no issues.
Yep.
But we're going to escort Dub so that he knew that people outside the family supported him. Because I'm telling you, and like I said, this is before the wreck, and he's already struggling with self-esteem issues and being the bigger kid. Like I said, we don't use that F word, but hey, he was struggling. It ended up how the Bikers Against Bullies chapter in North Alabama came to be. We did that escort, and you would have thought that we were a bunch of 1%ers coming to the school to attack the school from the police presence. And a lot of these folks at that time were folks that I had worked with. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But again, we've done it to show support, not to show strength in numbers or anything like that. We were looking to show support for him and gave other people in the community an opportunity to come with us and show support for a kid that was being bullied. Didn't matter that it was my kid, any kid. You know, that was what we were doing. It actually caused him problems. The principal at the time after that actually took it out on him that we came and done that. You know,
Pulled me into his office and was just shaming me.
What was their issue with this? Why were they acting like that about this?
I don't know, man, because like I said, I called the sheriff and I told him what we were doing. Told him when we were doing it. Called the principal, told the principal, you know, what we were doing. We didn't try to hide anything. It was all over Facebook. We were very open about what we were doing. And I think it goes back to schools, public schools, seem like they tend to want to hide their bully problems.
Oh, yeah, they do.
And that in itself, to me, is a problem.
I know the hatred I had for everybody at school started like 3rd grade. And I had just come to Belgrade from Russell, and maybe in 5th grade, 4th grade. I think it was 4th grade. So I was a year in, people got to know me. And what started the hatred, I didn't just not like them, I hated everybody. It's because they told me I should have just sewed my mouth shut so I wouldn't eat so much. So that just started all the hatred towards everything. So then the anger grew for teachers, the world, me. The biggest one, why why me? It goes back to there. And so year goes down the line. I tried to take my life multiple times and it didn't work. So then I really questioned, why am I not able to go? I don't want to be here. Let me go home. Why can't I go? It won't happen. It won't work.
How old were you when you first started having those thoughts of taking your life? Do you remember?
I started thinking about it when I was 7, but I didn't try until I was like 10. I knew I was for sure ready to go when I was like 10. So I tried that first. It didn't work. And so
Let me interject. When he says he tried that, he took my service weapon. He took Glock 22. It was hot and it snapped. Snapped on live round. That's how close that was.
Wow. Talk about God's plan. Wow.
So I was obviously confused. So I quit there because when it didn't work, I didn't want to mess with my chances because I didn't know. You know, I worked up. I can't say the word. Enough nerve to do it, and I did it. Didn't work, so I was done. So that just made me more angry. So years go on, lost grandparents and stuff, so that keeps the grief adding on to the depression, anxiety. My biggest thing was just anger. And I said this in my post, and he called it the other day. When I don't take anger medicine, I am still very angry. I will wake up angry, but after I take my medicine, I'm good. But he said something that caught me off guard, and I snapped on him. Later down the road in the day, I apologized because it kicked in. I was like, for nothing. I was just angry. Woke up angry. But I'm human. And along with the seizure disorder, Doug was diagnosed with severe ADHD in the first grade. So that's always been there. So he's been taking medicine since he was first grade. Got shamed for that. Said I was faking all that, but whatever. But anyway, I get older. I get introduced to drugs. So I figured out drugs would what I thought helped. So I did those for a little while and then tried different things. I got to try all kinds of stuff.
How old were you when you first tried any drugs?
10.
What was the drugs?
First thing I ever done was a Percocet. I was doing Percocets multiple times. It wasn't every day. It was more than I should. Percocet, Xanax, Coke Blue. I was doing those. Same days I was there, I tried them all. Like, I don't know how I didn't die from them. I was taking that many. So after that, I really got messed up. Started messing around with girls and using the girls for, you know. And I get a little bit older, get a little more sense. Then I just stick with marijuana. You know, didn't care about nothing else. Just, I like the marijuana, you know. And then it got to a point where, like, it sounds like schizophrenia. Every time I go outside, I felt like people was looking and staring at me. So I stayed up, cooped up all the time. So if I left the house, it was rare.
And you got to think, Derek, this is all 13 and below.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
This is 13 and below, and me and his
Wow.
mama didn't know it.
Yeah.
Me and his mama didn't find out until later. And he spent a week in the hospital in the Children's Mental Hospital at Vandy.
mhm.
And then we came home. We were home for a while. I don't really remember how much time there was between the two. And then I was sitting on the front porch one day, and he comes out and he's like, I need to go. So we loaded up and we went to UAB this time. And the hardest thing I've done with him was leave him at UAB.
I could not imagine.
Used to, the hardest thing I'd ever done was arrested my brother, but that took the place of that.
So around 13, I think, maybe 12. At some point, they put me on antidepressants and anxiety medicine and anger medicine. So we got all that figured out. And it kept coming back for a little while, and I kept going back to the doctor, and I needed something different, and it worked. So get out of I was wanting to kill myself. And then I was told I was cleared to go to the gym. He told me I was mad because I couldn't play sports. I didn't care about the gym. I could care less. So still smoking weed. And then one day I was just like, it was after the therapy, and I was like, I can't smoke weed and try to better myself. So quit smoking weed. And then I mean, like, that was 3 years ago. So, and that was hard. You know, I mean, you're young and then trying to beat off a marijuana addiction.
No, but I thought marijuana's not addictive.
Right.
That's what everybody says, but it was
Yeah.
like the pill stuff. That was, you know.
Now don't get me wrong. I'm not 100% against marijuana these days as far as for adults. It is a lot healthier for adult, especially edibles, you know, than alcohol. It's a lot healthier for you. I know some older people that use that instead of, you know, opioids, and I think that's a lot better. But as far as younger kids, I mean, especially as young as you were, but I mean even 18, 19, 21, it's not a good thing for them to be using. I mean, it's just not. And you can attest to that.
And see, Caleb was bullied about his mom. Holly went through Hodgkin's lymphoma in 2013. So Holly, like right now, for instance, she was with us Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. She's pretty much been in the recliner trying to recover since Sunday afternoon. And we're at Thursday.
Yeah.
It just takes so much out of her, but we still have her with us. But she didn't get to do a lot of the school functions that were going on when he was still in school, like parties and whatnot. And I had the principal call me one day and he said, "What are you doing?" We're just having a conversation. And he finally gets around to why he called. And he called to tell me that it was going into Thanksgiving break, so it was about this time of year. He said, "Dub had a fight." And I said, "What do you mean Dub had a fight?" And he said, "Dub had a fight today." I said, "Dub's in a cast." And at the time, he had been riding a dirt bike and he was in a cast from his wrist to his shoulder. He broke his arm, crashed the dirt bike. I said, "Dub's in a cast." I said, "You sure he got in a fight?" He said, "He whipped him with that cast." I said, "Oh, okay." And that was because the little boy told him that Holly should just kill herself because she couldn't come to the school.
And this is
And he got him.
4th, 5th grade or something.
And Dub got him, you know.
And a lot of that had to do with the anger.
Yeah.
And then running his mouth.
His first granddad got killed in 2016. He got hit head on by a guy that was trying to commit suicide.
Jesus.
In 2009, my daddy, that was Holly's dad, 2019, my dad got run over on a motorcycle sitting in the median by a kid that was on the phone. So in 3 years right there, he lost both grandpas.
Yeah.
And that took a toll on him, you know. Plus, he remembered Holly being sick. You know, he was old enough to remember everything Holly's been through and still goes through daily.
And then I remember lost half my family to drama. And so.
To what? I'm sorry.
Drama.
Oh, drama. Okay.
So that was added on to that too. I got comfortable with who I was around a couple months in the gym. Turned my faith around because I did one of the worst things you can do is just even question God for what he was doing. But everything's worked out now. And turned my faith back around. Started going back to church. Wasn't a big fan of churches because of judgmental people because of my hair.
Oh, okay.
And then
Yes, he's 16 years old.
I've got 2 tattoos as well.
And he's tattooed.
So judgmental people. So I quit going to church. He kind of didn't like church, but the more
I'm sorry, but yeah, you may be only 16, but you're an adult, and I mean you are. You are way more mature than most 20-year-olds by far. You're more mature than a lot of 25 and 30-year-olds, and so you having a tattoo at 16 is not the same as most. But go ahead.
Oh, and both of my tattoos have stuff to do with faith, and that's one of the big reasons I wanted them. One day I want my body to be covered in the gospel. I got my faith turned around, and then got me a girlfriend. Been with her for 3 years, so she actually helped me quit the marijuana and stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah, she wanted me to go back to church, so I went back to church. She ain't let me go through nothing wrong, which I'm not saying they have, but she really hasn't. So me and her's growing together in faith. She's got her own story, I've got mine. There's a movie that me and him watched. You've probably seen it, Sheer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So the world ain't always what it seems.
Lymann Rea says to Mark Wahlberg, the world is not always what it seems.
Because a lot of people see the good stuff that I've been doing, so I made this post of the stuff that happened before this good stuff. And then I was at school today and it hit me. I need to put that. It ain't always what it seems. It ain't always what it looks like. It didn't just come real easy.
It's not been easy.
No, it ain't been easy. But it's not gonna say it was quite worth it because it hurt a lot. I'm good now. Only thing I struggle with is him.
You know, we have a big problem, in my opinion, these days with this generation that's coming up right now. With they are afraid to be stressed about anything, and they don't think they're supposed to be stressed. They don't think they're supposed to have any anxiety, and they don't face any real obstacles until they're 30, and then by that time, they don't know how to handle it. And that is the one good thing about having all the struggles that you have had already. You're gonna, when you're 35, 40, I mean, you probably already can, but you're gonna be able to handle anything that ever comes at you, and because you've been prepared for that. And that is one good thing about that. That's in my opinion a big problem that we're having today, because parents don't want their kids to suffer at all.
And I tell you, Derek, we run into a problem, whether it's here, whether it's school, whatever. We'll address the problem, we'll work the problem, we'll move on. I mean, it's not hard to figure out. You address it, you work it, and you move on. You don't have to sit and dwell on it. You don't have to drag it around with you. We'll address it, and we'll work it, and we'll move on.
Everybody fails every single day. I teach leadership classes and speak on leadership, and the only difference between a successful person and an unsuccessful person is the successful person falls more than the unsuccessful one, but they continue to get back up every time. But at some point, the unsuccessful person falls and just gives up and doesn't get back up. That's literally the only difference between the two. The best way to learn is failure. If you don't fail, you're not learning anything. That's the most important. And that's what I try to teach. I got an 11-year-old, and I try to teach him, son, you're not perfect. Nobody expects you to be. You're going to make mistakes. Just learn from them and understand everybody falls every day. But if you want to be successful, just keep getting back up. And at some point, that success will come. And I think that's another problem, that a lot of parents these days expect their kids to be perfect. And when they're not, they just pound on them. And I don't think that's good either.
No, I agree. And Derek, I'll call it what it is. I've been blessed to speak all over the country. Big churches, little churches, mega churches, backwoods. I've been blessed to do that. And I've had the opportunity to tell folks this, look, nowhere in the Bible does it say to stop. We're told to go in the Bible. Nowhere does it say stop. Jesus didn't tell us to stop anywhere. He says to go. You shoot, you understand movers. I tell people, if you're constantly moving, then it's going to be a whole lot harder for things to pile up on you. Because if my hand's coming across here, it's harder for you to set something in it, because you have to do it. And sometimes you may get it in there, but if it's still moving, it may fall off right then. But if you're stopped and you're stationary, then things can just pile up and pile up and pile up on you. We have to keep going, and we have to keep pushing, and we don't stop. I mean, that's the mentality that we have to have in the gym, in life, in our spiritual life. It is just, we keep going and we keep pushing, and we don't let them things pile up.
Very well said. I 100% agree with you on all of that. That's very well put.
And and being and of course, like I said, Ollie couldn't come with us today, but being his parents, there's so much of these things. We were doing everything we could to try to know what he was doing, try to police what he was doing, and he was still, those things were happening that we didn't know about, and it makes you question as a parent, what did I do to put him in this spot? What did I do what could I have done different for him not to have gone through these things? And as a parent, you can't do that either. You can't do that either. Watching him, I didn't hear the sew in my mouth shut thing till last week. The first time I ever heard that come out of his mouth was last week. in this gym. And it just breaks my heart that kids would say that to another child. Not even just because it's him, but other kids. I mean, why tell somebody that? You know, I mean, why would you do that?
I think a lot of that has to do with how they're being talked to at home. They learn it somewhere.
Yeah.
And most of the time it's at home.
And, you know, I'll be the first person to tell you, before I got saved, I hated everybody. And my thing was people in suits. Well, most people in suits are church people and lawyers. And that was one of the biggest things that I had to overcome. First church, I got saved in a church. And the first time I ever walked in the door, I didn't know how to react to these folks hugging on me and treating me the way they did. And I'm like, you know, it was anybody outside my circle I didn't want any part of, because I felt like everybody looked down on me. When I started getting tattoos weren't like what they are now. When I started riding Harley, it wasn't like what it is now. You know what I'm saying? It was still, I started riding Harley at 20 and got my first tattoo at 20. And we were still having to cover stuff up at work. And you know what I'm saying? It wasn't like it is now. And the judgment that came with it, but that judgment also gave me the testimony that I have. And that, I believe that's why the Lord has allowed me to speak in the places I have and do the things that I've done, is because of where I came from, if that makes sense.
Oh, absolutely. God can't use perfect people. Again, a perfect person can't teach you anything because they don't know anything. And I think that's where I think a lot of people don't realize that either. And they have a couple mess ups in life, and then they're just like, that's it. Everybody's going to think I'm this for the, you know, ever. And again, it's not you can't do it like that.
And I still struggle. He's the calm one of the bunch. My thing is still to go to, he'll talk to you. I want to put hands on you. And that's probably how I'll be till they put me in the ground. But like you said, well, the Bible says it. We all fall short, you know, and that's daily. And like you touched on it, you know, that getting up is where your winners, I feel like, truly shine. Is the folks that are winning, or the folks that do get up and continue to go on. When he tore that quad tendon, he could have stopped, but he didn't. He worked around it. He trained everything but that. Not to say anything about myself. When that fell on me the other day, I could have, but that's just not how we do.
I got experience with the real world at a young age. It wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. It was, but that's life, and wasn't nobody's fault.
How long have you? I'm guessing that's one reason that you've really taken to the weightlifting. Is it probably I'm sure it makes you feel really good.
Mm-hmm.
Does it give you a similar feeling as when you were doing some drugs, as far as your brain releasing thing? Would you say they're similar?
Absolutely.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely. This is better.
Yeah.
And I get a lot of mine from going to church. Better high at church than any drug can give you, any bottle. So I mean, but the gym, yeah, it's similar.
Yeah. What do you, if you were right now talking to a 10-year-old that was being bullied on in school, you know, that was going through similar things you were at that time, what advice, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot, what advice would you give them?
Don't go to the teacher. Because every time I would, because, you know, that's what they tell you. It didn't work. Go to your parents. Go to a preacher. You know, go to someone outside of the school system.
And tell them what? What would you be telling the person that you went to?
I'm being bullied, and, you know, and if your life's in danger, you got to do what you got to do. I had to do it. Fighting. I mean, don't start nothing, but if you got to finish it, finish it. You know, I mean, if your life's in danger, you got to do what you got to do. Which no one is going to agree with that. But. So
you wouldn't suggest someone keeping it to themselves, right?
No, don't. That's probably the worst thing you can do. Is what I did.
Exactly.
Some stuff, most of my bullying stuff, I went to him because he experienced it too. But no, don't hide it. It's just gonna eat you up. It ain't nothing gonna be solved. If you let people walk all over you, they're gonna keep doing it.
And then if you were talking to, again, a 10-year-old that was thinking about taking their life right now, what would you say to them?
Don't. And there's no point. It's never the answer, even though you may think it is. Don't do it. I used to text, I think it's 988 or something, suicide hotline. I used to text it all the time. Every time I'd get a little bit down because I was embarrassed to talk to my parents.
Yeah.
So I would text them. There's them, there's friends. You know, if your friends don't work and if they don't help you, you need new friends. That's if they don't want to help you, or especially make fun of you for it, you need new friends. That's simple. There's counselors at school. That was the one person I did go to at school was a counselor. Which yeah, don't do it. Find something, get your mind off of it, and just if it gets to the point bad enough, go to a doctor. And you may have something throwing sparks up there, so they may can help you. But don't do it.
And after his first wreck, Derek, while he was stuck at home when he couldn't go to school, taught himself to play guitar.
Yeah, find something. I've slacked off on guitar. I don't really have time. I do now. But find gym, find friends. Don't go to alcohol.
And body dysmorphia is so real.
Mm-hmm.
It's so real, and it really doesn't even matter the age. Now I'm talking about from kindergarten to I'm 48, fixing to be 49, and still deal with it. And anybody that tells you they don't look like us. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't realize. I used to get so bent. He would wear hoodies almost year round. It'd be 100 degrees outside, and this kid's got a hoodie on. And I'm like, dude, you're gonna burn up. No, I'm good. And come to find out later, he was covering himself up.
Yeah.
And which now we cover up now, but sometimes, but it's for a whole different reason.
For a mindset.
Than what he was.
And my lowest point, I got a picture on my phone. We was out looking at houses. But that was when I was at my lowest point. And I was like, I'm huge. Can't look in the mirror. I'm ashamed. Looking at the picture, I'm like 198 pounds. So I'm like a little bit above average. But I seen myself as 400. You know, but look back now, I was small. I was tiny. That was from the not eating.
And see, I've dealt with the exact opposite my whole life. I've never been big enough for me as far as, muscle, like no matter. But yeah, I still suffer with it and I'm pretty open about it. But my arms could probably be 26 inches and I'd still be, man, my arms are small. And I don't know how to fix that. I've obviously the older I've gotten, I can, I don't let it affect me daily, but I still feel the same way. And like you're saying, Lyman, it's real. And some people it affects really, really bad. And some people, can handle it better. But it is real. I don't know the right answer other than we're the hardest on ourselves.
Absolutely. That's just like when we go to a meet, we usually try to find a hotel that's got an indoor pool. The hardest thing for me that whole weekend is taking my shirt off and getting in a swimming pool and hot tub. And I've gotten better with it, but that's something that I struggle with, and I can't be the only person out there that struggles with that,
Mm-hmm.
And most of the time when you think about body dysmorphia, most folks want to automatically go to women, but it's not. It's men are the same way. And I say men, boys, whatever, it is the same way. Then you take a child that's in school that's heavy, versus a child standing next to them that's not heavy, and they get looked down on, they get picked on because they're heavy. Nobody ever picks on the kids because nobody ever bullies a kid over them being skinny. I'm not saying skinny folks don't get bullied. That's not what I'm trying to say. Nobody ever says, oh, you're too skinny. All you ever hear is you're too big. And I think that will carry on with a person throughout their life.
I never cared how I looked like until I started hearing the comments.
Yeah. And see, here's the crazy part, and this is what we don't realize when we're going through it. When I was 12, 13, I would have killed to have been your size that you were at that age. I'm serious. I did not like being skinny. And I just wanted to be big. I didn't care. And, again, this is just how my mind was. You at that time would have probably, in your mind, you were probably wanting to look like I did at that age, and I would have killed to look like, you see what I'm saying? We take ourselves down so much. And again, I don't know the right answer to fix it, but it is a problem with a lot of people, and definitely not just females.
You look at these guys and you're like, oh, they're really big. I wish I was as big as them. And you take a picture with them and you're same size as them.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, look, there was a guy walked in. I'm not going to say who he was, but he walked in over the weekend at the World Championship, and I'm like, my goodness, that cat is a monster. And he was when it come to what he was doing. Before we left, there's a picture of him standing between us two, and that cat that looked like such a monster really wasn't.
Yeah.
But now, don't get me wrong,
he was a monster.
He's a large individual, but he didn't appear to be that just monster of a man when you stood in between us. And I think a lot of times, while I'm talking, you find it and read it. He made a post, and I've touched on it before in different things. You see these guys, and they are huge. You know, they're monsters, monster fellas. But if you can get past that and go and talk to them, they're not.
Monsters are only scary in the dark. Turn the light on and talk to them.
Very well said.
I come up with that the other day, and I was like, I won't post that. Monsters are only scary in the dark. Turn the light on.
No, I love that. That's awesome.
We had a fellow in here a while back that said we were scary, so he wouldn't talk to us. And don't want that. Don't want that at all. No matter where we are, don't want that, at all. Because we don't want to do anything to hinder us being able to, one, talk to folks, two, share the gospel. You never know what you miss when you don't get a chance to talk to folks. So we never want to come off unapproachable or intimidating or any of that. That's not what we're looking for. What we're looking for is the numbers that go up when we do what we do. Agree?
Mm-hmm. Which my whole point of view on when I started the meets, I didn't know why I was doing it. I just wanted to do it. And then a month before this past Worlds, I figured out why I wanted to do meets. And my girlfriend, we got the supplies we made little bags. And we made 100 something of them, and we handed them out. They had one of our stickers, some candy, and the baby Jesus, the little Jesus, and we put that in it. And we wanted to spread the gospel. And that's what I want to do at all the meets now. I don't care what my numbers are.
Yeah.
There's more life than the gym. You know, I don't want people to think, oh, you just care about the gym. Well, you are the gym. Gym's just what I do.
Yeah.
I want to show you about the Lord.
You're an amazing young man.
Thank you.
I'm being serious. You are. And again, you are so mature for your age. You are decades ahead.
And I struggled with that very thing for a while. That Doug did grow up so fast. And because he grew up, he spent a whole lot of time in a motorcycle club clubhouse when he was young, And I look back at that and I'm like, Doug had no business being in the clubhouse. And he didn't, but it happened, and it is what it is. But he had an opportunity to see different kinds of folks that a lot of kids his age have never had the opportunity to see and be around. Now, not all of them were good guys. Some of them ain't. And that's in anything that you do. But I felt bad about that for a long time,
And one thing I've learned at these meets, these big guys, you got these really little guys. Well, they're muscular, but they're small. You got these big guys. You walk up to this really big guy, and he's the sweetest person in the world. You walk up to the little guy, he's kind of a jerk. So it's like, you got to look at your perspective.
Same thing. Same thing with dogs.
Yeah.
We've got a little Yorkie that weighs about 3 pounds, and she thinks she is huge, and she barks and like she can attack somebody or something. We've got a 30-pound dog, and he wouldn't hurt anybody, and that's just what it reminded me of when you were saying that, because it is true. It's very true most of the time, and I'm sure there's some kind of psychoanalyzing behind why that is, but that is true.
Well, he's got a what's Dozer?
Old English.
He's got one of those, and then I got a full-blooded German Shepherd. So the size difference is a little different.
Yeah,
A lot of different. But mine ain't gonna hurt you unless you hurt him or me or him. But I'm not saying his dog's mean, but he thinks he is.
yeah,
He thinks he is.
But he thinks he is.
yeah.
And my dog, he's just chilling. He's happy. He's really sweet. And so, but he will hurt you if he has to. And that goes with the big guys at meets and at the gym. I mean, a lot of them don't want to, but they got to if they have to.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have seen our shirts we'll do different shirts every meet. And we do hoodies, shirts, the whole deal. But on the front, like I said, is all our stuff. Cornbread Fed, Cajun Labs, Legacy. That's on the front. And then on the back, it's August Strong. August on top, Strong on the bottom, those are in the heart. And then there's a cross in the middle. But the cross is
Philippians 4:13, Isaiah 6:8.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And we've done that to raise awareness for August,
I was at the hospital yesterday. My buddy, his baby was born the night before. A nurse come in. She's like, I didn't want to say anything, but what's your shirt say? So I got up, started, and turned around. She's like, is that August that got hurt? I'm like, yeah. She's like, are you a fan of him? I know him. And she was really surprised, and she was supportive of it. And it was cool.
Yeah.
People definitely know about it.
Yeah. When I met him a couple weeks ago, I was surprised of just how in good spirits he was. He seemed like the happiest kid ever, on the outside at least. And he was so very grateful and thankful. It blew me away. But I was very impressed with him.
I just don't want it to be different when he's in his bedroom at night.
Yeah.
Because that's when it would always got me.
Yeah.
And that's what I told him. Like, don't get in your head.
No, it's dangerous for anybody to be alone for periods of time. It's not good. And the Bible tells us that. We're not supposed to be alone.
I spent, other than them being home, I spent my childhood alone. I didn't hang out with nobody.
Yeah.
No one liked me. So, that's what a lot of stuff happened, as I told you. But I spent most of my time alone, and now my girlfriend don't ever let me be alone.
And that's so hard to hear, Derek, still.
Yeah, I'm sure. I couldn't imagine how, with y'all, his parents, hearing this stuff. I can't imagine how tough that is on y'all either.
We're together all the time.
Do what?
But he was saying me and him together all the time now.
Okay. Yeah.
In the gym, but I'm so grateful to have my girlfriend. That's one of my biggest things.
Do you know Caden Trapp?
Yeah.
That's my nephew.
Caden Trapp works under here sometimes.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
He's huge. Yeah. Yeah, he's a big kid too.
Very humble young man as well.
He is.
He is a very humble young man.
And he's a good kid, but he's prospered. I'm very proud of him. But yeah, I could not believe how strong he is when I started watching this stuff. And I was like, Jesus Christ! I mean, he's strong. I think he's focusing a lot on the arm wrestling stuff now. I think.
Yeah, he did switch to that.
Yeah.
Which Brian Shaw did too. Eddie Hall.
Yeah.
We'll be in Covington, Georgia.
Oh yeah.
March the 14th. Right after we left Covington last year, just a short time after that, we lost a fellow they call Pitbull. And so the Covington meet is a memorial for Pitbull and his team, his family. He was a coach, lifter, great guy. But we're carrying some brand new folks down there to compete for the first time. We're not going to compete. Got a 13-year-old girl that's going to go with me, and then got a gentleman that's going to go with him. And we're fixing to start getting them ready. Like I said, we're not going to do it, but we're going to be there. Anybody that's never experienced the meet, it's hard to explain the atmosphere and how everybody is, how close everybody is. But that'll be what's coming up next. We might as well put it out there. We're looking to relocate. We're relocating. We're going to Oklahoma City. So if Oklahoma's going to Oklahoma
really?
City, that's how that's going to be.
I'm excited. I get to be with my coach. So
yeah.
So that's where your coach is?
Yeah, his coach, Ray Willingham. Like I said, Ray's doing everything right now, video, that type thing, and
he's been beating me.
Has made a big difference already. Just, I mean, his numbers don't lie. So we're excited to get to the 405 and see what comes of that. So that's upcoming. It'll be sometime after first of the year. But we're excited. Like I said, one college, Missouri River, it was a private college. They reached out, and like I said, we declined that one. But that's the end goal is his education. He's decided he wants to be a firefighter. He wants a degree in
PE and exercise science.
Yeah, physical education and exercise science. I wished he would just stick with just being PE and doing the teaching thing.
Which everybody knows the living I want to have. I can't make that happen with just being a firefighter. So
yeah, you want to do both.
Yes, I want to do both. And
more than likely now, he's a volunteer firefighter now.
Yeah.
Okay.
He is.
More than likely, I'll probably just end up being a coach and a personal trainer. But I still want to go and burn in houses and use a big old water gun. So.
Well, I can't sit here and tell you not to, because that's exactly the dreams I had. And
I told him, I said, really don't care what you do as long as you don't have to wear a gun to do it. That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah. No, the law enforcement,
just not for a living.
Law enforcement was tough. I loved it, and luckily, I mean, I got to live my dream. I did. I lived my dream for a long time, and I got to do some of the coolest things I could have ever dreamed of. And I mean, every day when I would get home at night, it was one or the other. It was either I would sit there and lay in bed and go, I cannot believe they paid me to do that, and like I felt like I lived in a movie, like literally. And then the next day, it would be the worst day of my life, and I'd be sitting there, I got to quit. I'm not going back to work tomorrow. And then I'd wake up and do it all over again. But it does wear on you, and it gets very tough at times, and it changes the way you look at the world. There's no way around it. Does, and it's the mental health side of that. I'm working on that. I'm wanting to start. We're working on some projects, because I want to start doing a lot of mental health stuff for law enforcement, first responders, because it's so important, and we're still too scared to talk about it. But
I tell people, Derek, I said, the voice of God is kind of like a radio station. We can reach up and we can turn the volume down, we can turn the radio all the way off, but that radio station is continuing to broadcast. We just don't hear it, and I feel like the voice of God is the same way. We can turn him off, we can turn him down, but he's still there and he's still talking, and it's up to us to slow down enough to hear that, and to open our mind and open our ears enough that we do hear what he's trying to tell us.
Yeah.
I want to say this before we finish. You brought up your wife. His mama is probably his biggest cheerleader, and it takes so much out of her, to go to a meet, especially like Worlds. Worlds is a 2-day deal. I lift on Friday, he lifts on Saturday, which works out good for me and him because he can help me, then I can help him. But she is so supportive of everything that he does, that we do. And I say that we do,
yeah.
Because we spend a whole lot more time somewhere else than we do at home. And a lot of times she is stuck at home, just like today. She doesn't have a choice. She is stuck at home. So she's stuck in the background so much that, we can't forget what she sacrifices for us to do what we do. And what she sacrifices is us, because we're gone so much, and then, like I said, we fixed to pick up some folks and help get ready for March. And the way that we're going to have to do that is we'll train in the middle of the day and then train them in the afternoon. And then we finally get to come back home, and she sacrifices a lot. And Avery too, Avery's his girlfriend. Avery too, in that we're not there. Avery can actually come with us. Holly doesn't get to come with us because of her health. Sometimes she gets to, sometimes she don't. But more times than not, she's stuck at home, looking at 4 walls. So she tries to do a whole lot of the posting and stuff for us. We try to post real regular about Cajun Labs because they do sponsor us, and we try to give back to them, and that's how we give back to them. Of course, Legacy and Ray, which is his coach, and it's just folks don't realize the sacrifice that goes into it, because it's not just going to the gym and working out. Somebody can go work out, go home. They in the gym 45 minutes or so. That's different than what he's doing. Because it's a big difference.
I'm about to what she is too, but I'm gonna go to school, go to the gym, go home, and go back to the gym, and that's gonna be me for
the next 17 weeks.
Yeah, but I don't see it as sacrificing anything. If I want to do something, I'm going to do it. I'm going to make time for it. I have, but I don't see it as sacrificing anything because I want to do it.
And we want to do it to help these other 2 folks. They came to Worlds with us, got bit by the bug, and here we go. And really excited about both of them. One of them is a fella, he's a little bit younger than me, and then like I said, the other, that's who he's going to work with. And then the other is 13 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she is 13 years old. So we excited to get to help folks. And I know I speak for both of us when I say that. We enjoy it, and it's going to be a fun 17 weeks. Might not be for them. Will be for us.
Ain't going to go easy on
them. And like he said, he'll go to school, come here, we'll try and get our stuff out of the way, and then be waiting on them when she gets out of school and he gets off work. Take care of them, and then we go home,
And pretty much after that, I'll go home, eat, shower, and go to bed.
And one last thought, right quick. You were talking about earlier about the culture of the sport that y'all are in, and how it's not everybody for himself. It's everybody encouraging everybody. Everybody wants everybody to succeed, right?
It's the only sport that I know of that you're not competing against each other.
Yeah. And that is how, if everybody was like that, how amazing of a world would we have? Seriously.
Oh, absolutely.
It would be amazing. And that's the way I am. I want everybody to succeed.
Yes.
Even people that don't like me, I want them to be happy. And I want them to succeed. And that's as soon as you said that about that culture, it just sparked in me, because I didn't really realize that, because I'm not in that sport. But that speaks volumes of that sport, and y'all are doing that in your everyday life too. Like, my point is, once our focus changes to stop just worrying about us and us wanting to be good, but also focus on who can we help? What can I do for what can I do for you? Not what can you do for me? I'll be honest, I was in my 30s before I started doing that. I mean, before then it was all about me, and I wasn't as happy. And once you start living like that, y'all both can attest to it, I'm sure, because that's what you're saying. That's what that's what fulfills you. That's what makes you happy. You could be the best of something, but you're not going to be fulfilled unless you're helping people.
And kind of the way we see it too, Derek, if we got $1, you got 50, But like after Friday, I couldn't wrap him. He is what they call raw with wraps, and they're really stiff, really tough.
Rubber bands.
Yeah, knee wrap. And I have to wrap his knees before every squat. And as soon as he's through, we have to jerk him off of him right quick, because it's that like a tourniquet. Okay.
Yeah.
After Friday, I can't pull. I can push, but I can't pull. So I'm like, I can't wrap him. So we grab a coach from another team. Hey, you've got these 15 folks here, but can you wrap him for me? Absolutely. So every time when he was about 4 out from being his turn, that coach would grab him, sit him down, get him wrapped up right quick, get him out there. We may not see him again until he's about 4 out the next time. He'd get him wrapped, and never hesitated a lick. And like I said, he's got his own team there of, I think there were 15 of them that were there that he coaches. And hey, he wrapped him right up. And had it not been for him, we would have struggled with wrapping because, like I said, I couldn't pull with this right side. So, you know, and that's the way all of them are. You know.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. All right. Hey, I can't tell y'all how much I appreciate y'all coming on.
Hey, we appreciate it. It's an honor.
This has been one of the most amazing interviews I've ever done. I'm being honest. I don't say that to everybody. I promise you, I don't. The way you speak up, Dub, is going to help a lot of people. I know that, and that's what's so powerful about this interview is you not afraid to be vulnerable. And again, I know I keep going back to, but somebody your age not afraid to be vulnerable shows your maturity. But you obviously already know you can help people, and you've already been helping people, and it's so important that we don't hide our mistakes because that's how we help other people not make those mistakes.
Amen.
But if we walk around acting like we've never made a mistake, again, we're not helping many people. But I appreciate you, and I have so much respect for both of you. But this has been an amazing time. I mean, I have enjoyed this so much. And if there is anything at all I can ever do for either one of you, don't hesitate to ask me. And I mean that. I don't just say that. Again, I mean that. Y'all have a friend for life with me. I feel a connection to both of you. And again, y'all have a friend for life for sure.
Well, we appreciate it. It's an honor to do this with you, and we appreciate y'all so very much.